Retirement.
Yes.
You are now definitely retiring.
Oh yes, yes, my successor is chosen, everything's in place.
Wow.
My house is bought on Dartmoor, yes.
So why are you retiring?
I think very simply I've done it for long enough. I was pretty convinced that was the right decision. And then that was confirmed for me in the autumn of 2007, when, you may remember, there was a sudden flurry. Everybody thought Brown was going to the country. Well, I didn't actually, and I won an awful lot of lunches and dinners as a result of bets taken at that time. I never believed he'd go to the country. But at that stage, I had no successor appointed in Maidstone, and I hadn't made the formal announcement of my retirement, although everybody knew I was going. And I thought, if we're going to have an election, I'm going to have to stand again. And suddenly I was facing another 5 years, and it was just too much. 2, 3, fine, no problem at all. 5 years is too much. Politicians have to think in 5-year blocks. Anybody else who's got any control over their retirement age can say, I'll give it another year, give it another couple of years. We can't say that, we've got to think in 5-year blocks. So if in 2007 I had decided not to retire, I would have been thinking in an 8-year block, because it would have been 3 years to the end of this Parliament and 5 of the next. And I just said that it's just too much. I've just
really
reached a point where I don't want to do that long. I would if I had to, but I don't actually want to do that long. And I think when you reach that stage, that's the time to hand on to a new generation with goodwill. And I'd much rather people said to me, as they all do, why are you going? Rather than they were saying to me, when are you going? Whenever I go, it will be the wrong time. And I've got to go at what feels to me to be the right time. Anybody of my age who's thinking whether to stay on or whether to go understands that. You know, there comes a right time. You'll find out in 40 years' time. And you just say, yeah, that's it. This is the right time. You do need to be convinced. I mean, I didn't, you know, it wasn't a resolution I took in 5 minutes. You do need to be convinced. But once convinced, there is no way I have this wrong. People say, will you miss it? I say, of course. I've done it for 22 years. The idea I won't miss it is ludicrous. I'd be deceiving myself if I said that. But I won't regret leaving, which is different. I have very much the same thing when I left the Church of England, in which I was deeply rooted for the Roman Catholic Church. People said, don't you miss the Church of England? I used to say, well, yes, I have twinges of nostalgia. You know, I like the smell of pews and polish. I like the sound of church bells. I like the language of 1662. Yes, miss all that. Do I regret leaving? Not at all. And that, I think, will be here. There'll be things I'll miss. Things I'll probably miss quite unexpectedly. You know, they'll come to me at moments when I'm not expecting them. Yes, of course that will happen. Do I regret leaving? I won't, no.
Do you regret anything you've done as...
Nothing major. I mean, we can all look back and say, oh, you know, if only I'd gone at it that way, or I'd done it that way, or I'd presented it that way, you know, people might have understood it a bit better. You can always look back and say things like that. You can look back and say, with constituency casework, you can sometimes say, I wish I'd understood that a bit better at the time. You know, I wish I'd taken that a bit more seriously, or I wish I hadn't taken it half as seriously as I did. What a waste of time. So you can look back on that. But is there a major regret? You know, so something I'm going to go into my old age sort of tormented by? No, nothing like that.